It's a good morning to you. Welcome to Asake Online. My name is Zenzele Ndebele, and this is the Breakfast Club, a show where we talk about politics, social issues, economics, and everything. And it's been a long year. We are going towards the end of the year, and already abantu abaningi baku festive mood. So we thought, how can we end the year? And maybe the best way to end the year was to talk to the man of the moment, the man that everyone is talking about, Tshabangu. I think so many times this comrade has trended on Twitter for maybe 2 weeks in a row. I'm not sure any was with their trend in Twitter, but yeah, he has been, everyone is talking about WhatsApp group Tshabangu. So today we have Tshabangu here to try and understand him, and it's been I think it was a deliberate aim that let everyone talk to Tshabangu. Then we talk to him last, so that we really cover the gaps where other people have been talking. But so so you have seen all the other interviews, but you now see the real one, and we'll be talking about everything to do with the opposition and to do about the comrade. SG, welcome to the program.
My pleasure, Comrade Zenzele.
You know, I'll come to the SG thing, but let me first start by we have seen on Twitter there's a character that calls itself Tshabangu. Is it you or is someone else?
No, it's not me. There are about 4 or 5 pseudo accounts trading under my name. So yeah, that's not me.
Do you have a Twitter account?
Yeah, I do, but it's not active.
Okay, so there you have it. Anything that is being tweeted under Tshabangu is not him, but yeah, it's quite interesting. Maybe Mina, I just want to start with let's start with you. When did you, your background? When do you first become active in politics?
Well, I have been into politics maybe before I was given birth by my mother, because my mother were political activists. So, but to your question, I started politics in '99 when there was a mood of forming a political party, which was MDC. So I was really involved in its inception in '99 and 2000 when we went to Chitungwiza conference.
So ever since you've been in the opposition?
I am bearing scars of that formation of MDC, so I carry my cross, and I've been there, so nobody can say he doesn't know me.
So what are some of the positions, what are some of the positions that you've held?
Various positions. I started as the youth secretary, Ward 11 in Victoria Falls. That's where my politics started, and then from there, because of my aggressiveness as the youth, then the district chairperson, district secretary rather, was Sibanda, and then I was elevated to district secretary from district secretary from ward secretary, and then I spearheaded the programs of the district. Victoria Falls was one of the vibrant districts during my time. And then from there, after the split in 2005, before the split 2005, I was the provincial secretary. And then after the split, I then took reins of the provincial chairperson in the youth affairs.
So which side did you go with during this?
Well, because it was a difficult situation at that time, because I'm a student of labor, and we were built through the reigns of Morgan Tsvangirai and Gibson Sibanda, were the leadership that occupied the positions in the labor movement when MDC was formed. But to your question, it was difficult for me to make a choice at that time, because the split, the other group was led by Gibson Sibanda, who was also a labor movement icon. On the other hand, it was also led by one of the greatest, Morgan Tsvangirai. So I was caught in between, and behind Gibson, there was Professor Washman Ngcobe. At that time, Professor Washman Ngcobe, he wanted to send me to a scholarship in 2005, towards the 2005. So I was caught in between. But, well, I chose Morgan.
And you lost the scholarship.
And I lost the scholarship. Poor me. I think it was not a good decision, but I don't regret it anyway.
So when you lose the scholarship and you go with Morgan, what was your relationship with the professor? When I'm talking about Washman Ngcobe here.
It was very, very, because Professor identified me in Matabele North as one of the vibrant, as one of the skilled, as the one of the visionary youth who could really stay the youth. And they said, no, look, I remember in one of the meetings where Thokozani Kupe was there, and when Wanke, and then said, no, I need this boy. What is his name? After the meeting, he took my details and said, no, look, I need to send this guy to overseas and train. You see, that was the time when the split was being muted at that time. It was 2 weeks later on, then I find myself had to choose between scholarship, which had a bright future, again, choosing the political angle, which was led by Morgan. There was no future. You know, politics, you can't guarantee your future. You can't place your ambitions, your aspiration in the political sphere. But when you go into the academic, you know, because that is what everyone. You'll inspire your kids, you'll inspire your whoever your peers are, that ilifa lenu lelo, iskolo ilifa lako, nobody can take away from that from you. But politics, anybody can take away that from you.
So you are the provincial chair for Mat North during 2008, when Morgan Tsvangirai is the president. What are some of your achievements there?
Well, some of my achievements, one was that during the split, it was a no-go area in Matabeleland. Morgan feared that Gibson, Sibanda, and Washman Ngcobe will take Matabeleland. It was difficult for him as a person to go against his former president of ZCTU, Gibson Sibanda. So it was difficult for Morgan to really start maneuvering and to test his presence in Matabeleland. I am the one who, together with the colleagues in Victoria Falls, who assured that Morgan, you are still visible. We will make you visible. And the first rally that Morgan attended was in Victoria Falls. And at that time, I remember Executive Mayor was Tose, and Tose didn't give us the clearance to use the stadium. So we had to use a small ground. But I remember people then, they kind of like disassociated themselves when Morgan standing right far. And then as the meeting progressed, people started coming in. And this is when Morgan got his strength. So that's achievement number one. Achievement number two, during the split towards the election in 2008, there was a dilemma. We wanted something different. Different in the sense that there were two MDCs. MDC, which Gibson Sibanda led, and the MDC, which Morgan Tsvangirai led. So we wanted to coin it differently. How are we going to coin it that? So there was a dilemma. And in that National Council, it was held in Bulawayo at the Rainbow Hotel. I stood up and I gave a presentation that in order to differentiate the two MDCs, let's have the PAL, where we will have to put Morgan's face in that PAL. And there was another proposal from Dr. Thokozani Kupe. Kupe wanted to have a child holding something in that cycle. And then there was a debate, and my proposal won the day, and I was seconded by Manicaland. And from then, Morgan really respected me, and even the National Council respected me, because they never thought that something like that was going to come out. And
So you are the one who gave MDC Sbongo.
Yes, I gave
and
MDC,
personalized.
Yes, personalized it, because there was a cause. Well, I'm against personalizing an institution as a person, but at that time, we wanted to make sure that because it was some months before the election. So we wanted to differentiate and make sure that we stand, we make sure that our presence is felt. And we did just that. So I gave that proposal. Remember, there's somebody whom this struggle has never talked about. It is Grace Quinje. Grace Quinje, when we formed MDC, she is the person who came up with the name MDC. We used to say mother, dad, and children when we were campaigning. But nobody is talking about Grace Quinje today. Nobody is really making Grace Quinje relevant in this conversation. So I respect people like Grace Quinje, people like Love Momaduku, people like Professor Walshman Ngube, the late Len Mojongwe, Tendai Biti. These are the people who were the nucleus in the formation of the MDC. Thokozani Kupe. Well, of course, President Chamisa was not anywhere near that nucleus in terms of formation of the MDC, because there was Len Mojongwe. Remember, President Chamisa replaced Len Mojongwe. So he was at the peripheries of the formation of the MDC.
Yeah, we're talking about faces, and you are being accused of trying to run away with Chamisa's face. That you guys want to hold on to Chamisa. Munuguramba ne face ya president. What's the issue?
Well, this is interesting, because I gave a proposal in the National Council of MDC that we should use President Tsvangirai face, and it was resolved in that meeting and agreed. So Morgan Tsvangirai would not come and turn around and say, this is my face. It was a company property, a party property, intellectual property, properties. So I have got no doubt at the back of my mind that President Chamisa presented his face as a symbol for us to use, and we registered that face. So he can't claim today that that is his face. That's the face of the party, and we are going to continue using it. Nobody is going to use that face. We will stop anybody who is going to use that face, save for the party. He cannot use that face outside, unfortunately.
But you are being mischievous. So
he's our president. He gave it, and we endorsed
what you are saying is that if today the Chamisa and Nelson Chamisa decides to say, I want to disassociate myself from this CCC and form another movement, whatever name it is, you will stop him from using his face.
He will leave. That's a company property. He will leave. Graciously, he will leave that locus, and we will challenge him in court. If he does, I don't think he will be so naive. The president will be so naive to do that, because he knows he's a lawyer, and we don't anticipate that he's going to form another political party. Disagreements are there, and I don't think we have got contradictions in terms of ideology, contradictions in terms of policy pronouncements. I think there are contradictions in terms of positions and so forth and so on. So I think we'll be able to resolve those. I'm confident.
Okay, yeah, I mean, we let's go back. we just wanted to talk about the face issue, because it was interesting for me. So there is the MDC, you move on, there's PDP, there is MDC Alliance. You are in the national executive of the National Council of the MDC Alliance as of January 2022.
Yes. I was appointed national executive member, specifically to deal with mobilizing and recruitment. So that was my role, and Yeah, that was my role then when we formed the party.
So when do the disagreements start to emerge?
The disagreements started to emerge when everybody was put on pause, hold, and then we said, no, look, this is not the path that we are supposed to find ourselves heading to. This is a disaster. And there were appointments that were done. You know, there's this strategy of ambiguity, which resulted, gave birth to President Chamisa as the president of the movement, and also as the president of the presidential candidate in the last general election. So when those disagreements started to be felt and visible, and then through that strategy, I find myself appointed. I have the letter, I have the affidavit of the person who appointed me, because some people in those positions had gone out. People who were supposed to take this responsibility have decided to take a leave, a break, and then I took the center stage. And here I am on those bases. I'm acting on those bases, and my authority has been challenged in court, and those who have challenged my authority have not succeeded.
So you said you have a letter and someone appointed you.
Yeah.
Would you share the details? Who appointed you?
Well, I'm not going to share the details until the court, the issues are conclusive. But yes, you will see. If you go through the court papers, you'll find that affidavit is there.
So there was a time, okay, let's go back a bit to 2020. There was a time when you guys were talking to every opposition member here. I remember meetings with all these guys who were in the opposition before, and all of you wanting to have one thing led by Chamisa. And so how did that process break down?
Well, you know, the challenge is that I've experienced it under the leadership of Morgan Tsvangirai, may his soul rest in peace. There is nobody who wants, from that end, who wants a united Matabeleland. A united Matabeleland is a security threat. A united Matabeleland, it doesn't really give these people, it gives them a sleepless nights. A united Matabeleland is it's a threat in the establishment itself. So it is now transmitted to the opposition politics. I don't think President Emmerson Mnangagwa will want a united Matabeleland. I don't think I still stand here and say Morgan Tsvangirai never at one given time was at ease with a united Matabeleland. So is President Chamisa. He is scared of the united Matabeleland. So those initiatives were my idea. I brought in Professor Welshman Ngobe, Gordon Moyo, Dr. Gordon Moyo, Dr. Thokozani Kupe, Love Moyo, Mzila, the late organizer of the party, first organizer of the party, Mdlongwa, together. At some stage, we had to look for the academics, the likes of, I won't mention those who gave us the concept papers, but I know somehow you were involved, but I'm not going to involve those people. They gave these concept papers. The idea was that whoever wants Matabeleland should make sure, respect how the Matabeleland works, the culture, the leadership of Matabeleland. These people were going to organize whoever wants the presidential vote, whoever wants to challenge the status quo, he has to come through this leadership. This leadership is going to organize, identify candidates, credible candidates in the Matabeleland sphere, galvanize the presidential candidate. So it was never because people felt that if this happens, these people are going to challenge, they will feel challenged, which was a naive, in my understanding, theory to say if we have a United Manicaland, United Maswingo, United Mashonaland. How do you feel threatened about those things? So I don't think our leadership was advised properly in taking that decision. So it died a natural death. It was never given a light any day to survive. So this is the unfortunate thing. This is why today we have places or zones where abantu ba challenge ukuthi laba abantu asobe eMatabeleland. This is where we have people kuthiwa hayi laba bantu ngabempumalanga, laba bantu abaveli lapha, just because we were not united. That was killed. That initiative was killed. Again, it was by initiative.
So there was a by-election in March 2022. Mkanwini, there were many by-elections, but the Mkanwini one comes at the center stage, mainly because I think this is the first place where this Bereka Mwana concept is implemented, and twice Mpumelelo wins, and twice he's not announced as a winner because the party wanted someone else. Were there any lessons learned from there?
These guys will never learn. These guys will never learn. You know, the people of this region are very principled. We took a leaf from Joshua Nkomo. We took a leaf from Dumiso Tabengwa. Dumiso Tabengwa left ZANU on principle. He died a peaceful man because he said, no, whatever, I will stand by my principles. Joshua Nkomo had a unit accord, but at some stage he pulled out from the unit accord. Before the unit accord, he pulled out from the government. Welshman Ncube pulled out in 2005 on principle. Gordon Moyo pulled out in 2014 on principle. Thokozani Kupe, it was the same fate, pulled out in terms of principle. So these guys never learn. But this time we are not going to pull out. We are going to fight our within. Let those who feel our existence, who feel the heat, pull out. But this time we've taken over the CCC. It is the citizens' movement. We are at the center. Those who feel they can't play with the books, they can't play with the dictates of what the movement is all about, let them jump. And we are going to clap hands for them when they jump. So we are not going to be moved. It's not going to be the other way around. We have been treated unfairly as the people of this region. I don't think even if you go to ZANU-PF with its omissions and commissions, they will always respect the people of Matabeleland. You still find today Obed Mpofu still standing. You still find today Mthuli Ncube is still standing. You still find the new blight of Smangaliso today still standing. Jabulani is still standing. They respect these people. But in our institution, where I find myself representing the people of this region, we are not being respected because people think that we are too principled. People feel that amandebele engahlangana engabumbana bayathatha into le. So this is the challenge. But going back to Mkanwini, you remember, I signed for Mkanwini guy. I am the one who went to conduct the elections in Mkanwini guy. Kwayenziwa ubereka mwana yimi ngangikhona. I wrote the report to Ian Makoni. Ngimtshela ukuthi abantu bafuna umpumelelo. But bona babelo hlabana wabo babefuna ukumfaka. It never worked. Bafaka double candidate. So the issue of double candidate started Mkanwini. But it was not only Mkanwini. Mkanwini was the only one which was amplified. But kwakule double candidate eChitungwiza, kwakule double candidate eMaswingo, because kwakuyenziwe yibo, there was nothing wrong. We had social media outburst, if you know, people at that time were hard on us ukuthi uWelshman Ncube sefake double candidate, but they forgot ukuthi eMaswingo kwakule double candidate, eChitungwiza kwakule double candidate. When they realized ukuthi there were those double candidates, they went on silent. So these people, they never learn. That's the saddest thing. They learn through hard way. That is the unfortunate. And these are the criminals around the president. Look at Ostalos. Ostalos ngabafana abancane, ngabafana abalokhe bebancane besayenza politics zabo ze student politics. We need to put them by leader ama youth, not in the mainstream of politics. They were thrown in the deep end. They are clueless. When in terms of policy clarification, in terms of substance, belokhe bekhuluma kuphela about ama-job breakers, bekhuluma about this deep English. Abantu bemakhaya, they don't even understand the language, that this deep English that we are talking about. Abantu bemakhaya, they need tangible things. And this is why, this is where now, moving forward next year, we will redeploy these people. Ostalos is abadingela kuma-youth movements, sibafaka ngaphi kuma-youth movements, so that they can inspire our youth, but not in the mainstream politics. We want people who are mature. Let me give you an example. It doesn't mean, look, the people ababayi buffer when Morgan Tsvangirai was made popular. It was this guy, owaba spokesperson, I can't remember his name, sorry. But it was this guy, I'll come back to this guy. It was this guy from Matebeleland who gave Morgan the profile. Look, Professor Welshman Ncube, who gave Professor Welshman Ncube the profile? It was Nhlanhla Bahlangane Dube, a brilliant guy. He is the guy, he is there with trenches at. Look at President Nelson Chamisa running towards 2018 elections. Who profiled President Chamisa? It was Dr. Sibanda, Nkululeko Sibanda. He is a brilliant guy, he is there with trenches. Why not bring these people? But lead this information publicity. We have got credible people who can match Professor Jonathan Moyo, who can match Chris Mtswanga, who can match the ZANU Media information department. So we have got credible people. But the question is, how do we deploy and get the best out of those people?
You have mentioned a lot of things, and you talked about deploying, you talked about this time we are not moving out. But I then said to myself, come 2020, let's fast forward to 2028, and let's say there's an election. Who's going to be a presidential candidate?
Presidential candidate, there's no doubt about it. It's President Nelson Chamisa, unless if he tells us tomorrow before the election that no, he can't contest on the basis of medical conditions, on basis of the personal effects and stuff like that. But he is the best foot forward. President Nelson Chamisa is the best foot forward. He is my president. As I'm sitting here, look at the rally, I coordinated with President Chamisa that we should cancel that meeting, and we canceled that meeting. But I didn't go out in media. So the meeting was cancelled in consultation with the president.
Tshabangu, you're making allegations. You are saying you coordinated with the president.
Absolutely.
Are you saying Chamisa, as the president, recognized you as the SG?
He has recognized me from day one. When these court issues were put, when these matters were put in court, before the court, our courts, one thing that I need to say, we have got credible judiciary system in this country. We may not agree with them. They will pronounce, make some pronouncements that you don't agree with them. It's the nature.
But are you saying they're credible because they've been giving you wins?
No. We have challenged them in public if we are aggrieved. But look, I don't think the state should be still standing today if we had not credible judiciary system. It's one of the most important arms of state. Parliament, so is the executive, so is the judiciary. Imagine if the judiciary, people were saying judiciary is captured. If judiciary was not functioning, then there would be lawlessness in this country. So it is functioning to its best ability. Coming back to your question, my brother, Nelson Chamisa, the president of CCC, who even up to date, I'm standing here, I claim that he is my president. He has never put an affidavit challenging me that I'm not the CCC Interim Secretary General. So what does that mean? Anybody who has not who was holding the senior position in the CCC, who has not, Job Sikala, he has never put an affidavit in his languishing in prison. He has never said Tshabangu is not the CCC, so is Welshman Ngube, so is Tendai Biti, so is President Chancellor Chamisa, so is Kore. So what does it mean? These people, they are in agreement with me. Silently, we agree. We make conversations together. We communicate. Yes, silently. Let it pan out. In politics, we are not going to reveal the strategies. But as you see, that President Chamisa, as the head, as the leader of the movement, doesn't stop the functions of the Interim Secretary General. It means he's in agreement with what I'm doing.
So if people say you're being used by the system to destroy the opposition, what is your response?
If I was used by the system, why were we going? We shouldn't have really contested. We won against the system, 2 seats against all odds. We won Magwekwe, we won Mpopoma against all odds. It was a difficult by-election. A by-election where you are having ZANU-PF as an opponent, number one. A by-election where internal, there are people who were saying it's better ZANU-PF to take over Bulawayo. They were saying let's go and spoil our ballots. How do you have 500 spoiled ballots in this day and age? So clearly, members within the CCC, and these people we know they were sponsored by the criminals around president, that let's destroy the Secretary General interim so that we don't get the seats. Go there and spoil papers so that the spoiled papers becomes more than the candidate that Tshabangu has put there. So it was, we had 2 opposition. Opposition as in ZANU-PF and opposition, internal opposition. So it was difficult. It was one of the most difficult by-election, but we won. We beat ZANU-PF under those circumstances. So I don't think people will be fair and genuine to say I'm being used by ZANU-PF. Well, ZANU-PF will capitalize because they see the division. Now they saw the division, they came in their numbers, and they won these seats. If people, these criminals, had said, no, look, let's keep the parliament as the fighting zone. Let's make sure that ZANU-PF doesn't win those seats. Let's go and vote whosoever has been put there under the name of CCC. We will have really swept all these seats in Bulawayo.
So there is, you talked about the issue of material and how many people have not been disrespected or been disrespected over time. And when you started, it was about the issue of material. And people were saying, but wasusu ya gorekolela nabantu beche gutu le lakhona ngale emotionally.
Well, our circumstances were particular because emotionally we can't have resolve our issues of Bulawayo and Matabeleland in isolation with other provinces. So we had to sit down and say, are there challenges that Mashonaland is facing? And I'll tell you what, in Mashonaland, the problems are deeper than what we had, because begule sense ukuthi eMatabeleland abantu bebesesaba ukuthi enxa yabantu beMatabeleland vele bazasihlupha, but ngale bebengalanhloni umuntu befika afika athi wena you are no longer the candidate ngulo clearly. So ama issues eMashonaland were even deeper than issues as eMatabeleland. So this is why we ended up going there and visited Mashonaland. But I'm sure the issue of Byelections are gone and dusted. I think now we need to focus on how do we make sure that the parliament becomes viable. How do we make sure that our councils becomes viable? Look at in Harare, well, they will be going to appoint, elect another mayor. We need to make sure that we have a credible mayor who is going to deal with the corolla, a mayor who is going to deal with the challenges that are prevailing in Harare, a mayor who is going to respond to the service delivery issues, a parliament which is going to up its game, which is not going to be a throwing arena, a parliament where ideas are going to be shared, a parliament where an idea which is solid, firm, supported, should carry the day.
What's the end game with all this infighting?
The end game is to come up with a stronger, formidable opposition running for 2028.
But the guys can't agree. Why can't you close yourselves in the room and talk and come out and say we have resolved our issues?
I'm sure you have seen of late, Charlton Wende is coming out. He's expressing his views, he's expressing his opinion. He is reading my script. You have seen Professor Welshman Ncube, he's coming out. He is saying things as they are. The silence of Tendai Biti, it means a lot. So everybody, he is reading silently my script, or going out there reading whatever it falls in my script.
You know, I find this thing quite, only in Zimbabwe, quite interesting that you are the interim SG, and clearly you have disagreements with the president, and this brings like two factions. Mainly, I'm saying two factions because we've seen by-elections where there are candidates signed by you, there are candidates signed by. So we have two factions of Triple C.
Not necessarily. There is one Triple C. There is a group which is trying to express themselves so that they can be heard. In a closed door setup, and then if you don't agree, someone else who's going to go out there and register a candidate under Triple C. But we are going to deal with that. The matters are in court. At the end of the day, you will see, by the time we get to the election, there will be only one Triple C. So those disagreements, in fact, they are necessary. You need to dust ourselves before way before the election year to 2028. Asifuna ukuthi sikere the burden, the inzala eka sisiya ku 2028. Konke lokho kuyabe kuyinzala sihle sikukhiphe kade sibe lama disagreements so that we pay 28 we've got 4 years or so before we get to 2028. So that's that's enough time to put our house in order. And I've got no doubt ukuthi President Nelson Chamisa, he has the capacity, he has the ability, because I read from Barack Obama. Barack Obama said the ability of a leader is when you can even hear those who don't agree with you. So I think President Chamisa is able to hear even those who don't agree with him to the table and resolve those matters. And this is why we're still standing today.
I mean, if we go back a bit on July, you guys had also the issue of double candidates, and I think you signed for those double candidates. So at that particular time, you had not declared yourself the SG. So at what point did you then say, I'm the interim SG?
No, I didn't decide. It was not my initiation. It was not my suggestion at all. It was the suggestion of the leadership that, no, look, the person who has the clarity, the person who has been there, the person who can bring the stability, the person who can be the glue in this movement, it's Tshabangu. And I still stand here in honor of that recognition. And I stand here before you today that I'm carrying that affidavit that was signed by one of the most senior person. Look, Today, you will hear that Promise Mkhwanazi has been disappointed from the position of spokesperson. You will hear that Promise Mkhwanazi today has been appointed the information publicity of the CCC. You will hear that Mahere is the spokesperson. 2 minutes later, you hear that she has been removed from that position. Ostalos, a deputy spokesperson, you will hear that tomorrow he has been removed from that position. So there's an authority which has been appointing and disappointing too. And equally so, there has been a authority which has been consistent and consistent in the manner that it appointed me and it never disappointed anybody. It appointed me and I'm still standing today. And that authority has never been challenged in court.
So it seems like movement Leila Wandabai two who were appointed as Azman, Gulo President, Gulo SG. Who else is the post besides the two of you?
No, the executive still stands. President Chamisa is the head of the institution. Professor Welshman Ngube is the first vice president of this movement. Tendai Biti is the second vice president. Kore is the third vice president. Tabita, she is the chairperson of this movement. Job Sikala is the deputy vice chairperson of this movement. Sengezo Tshabangu is the interim.
No, but if we are using that logic, then Charles Wende is the Secretary General of the movement.
Look, Charlton Wende was the secretary. I don't dispute that. But when you let ungayekela ukuyemsebenzini and you take sabbatical leave, party needs to move. This is why Charlton Wende has never challenged my authority, because he agreed on my appointment that Charlton, we are appointing Tshabangu in your place. And I'm in there on an interim basis. So there's no contradictions at all. Charlton Wende has never tweeted even one day that I don't know Tshabangu. Not even a tweet. Charlton Wende has never put his affidavit and say, no, look, I am the Secretary General. So there was a conversation that we need somebody who is radical. We need somebody who has got a vision. We need somebody who is the glue. And that person, it's me. I'm going to bring these people together.
But
once more.
Doesn't it contradict then the president of the party who says there is no one with a post in the movement? Everyone is a citizen.
No, then how did he become the president of the party if there's no one? Because we never went to the Congress. People read too much from what president will be saying. Those are political statements targeted to a certain audience. But when we are talking as a family, well, we know we can't say president misplaced. Well, that statement was not accurate. But we'll say in our closed door conversation, no, that's not the way to go. But well, president has got different audiences that he addresses. So I think for that audience, it's okay. But it does not fit. That statement does not fit in the MDC family.
You guys have been to court. I don't know how many cases, and litigation is quite expensive. How are you managing your legal costs?
It's difficult. You know, I stand here and say we have got credible legal team. I assembled credible legal team, which is headed by Advocate Oriri, one of the finest lawyers, best lawyers this country has ever produced, supported by the sons of this region, the likes of Advocate Polo, the likes of Ngobane Stole and Kolwani Ngwenya. They have done exceptionally well. Maybe your question will be saying, where are you getting this money? Because Advocate Oriri is very expensive. His appearance fee is very expensive. So I remember when I engaged him for the first time, he said, look, Tshabangu, I know you don't have money. I'm not going to charge you for the first appearance because you are carrying a cause. Whilst you are looking for the money, I'm not going to charge you for the first appearance. All what I need is to start the ball rolling so that people at least know the world. Because he said, where are you going to get the money? I said, there's a backup from the diaspora. People have promised me. I said, okay, the only way we can make sure that these people buy the idea, I'm not going to charge you. They need to see me appearing. And I was so humbled to have Advocate Uriri. He never charged me for his first appearance. And so these guys, they said, no, look, we'll forfeit our fees for the first appearance. They went, and the money started trickling. People,
from where?
People live in the locals, local business people. They have, I can't mention the names, big guys in the business community. No, but the money is not written. You know, it's not our business. But now we'll receive the money from a business person, from the person who says he supports our cause. We will treat that person as a Zimbabwean. Sithathi imali yakhe, sifake, simnike receipt yakhe, everything. It's on above board. I'm the Secretary General. I was once in the labor movement. Tina siya counter to the last dot.
So there have been issues of accountability in your movement, that you guys don't account for monies, and you are almost in the same situation. That at one point you were accused for not accounting for money.
This is why those who have taken me to court today, the criminals who have taken me to court today, they are afraid of accountability. When I opened a bank account in Harare, they went ballistic that why did I open a bank account? Even some credible social media commentators bought the idea that is criminal. Why would a bank like CBZ allow Tshabangu to open an account? As if I'm not a Zimbabwean. But as if there are people who are better Zimbabwean than me. I didn't take that lightly.
So you are confirming that you opened that
yes,
CCC account?
I opened the CCC account. I'm the
How?
authority. We have the constitution. What are the requirements? The constitution, the resolution, the signatories, the proof of residence.
So who are the signatories?
No, well, we will see them. I can't reveal the signatories, but they are there.
Who did
But
the resolution?
the party did the resolution. The party did the resolution. We've got a standing resolution. So,
but when by the time you do the account, which is after elections, all along there was no any other account.
There were accounts, several of them. President Chamisa, I'll tell you, he has got an account. Somewhere. All right? Party has got an account. Coulthard, when we formed the CCC in January, he drove from Bulawayo to Harare to open an account as the treasurer. And the criminals around the president, because they've already captured him, they told him that we've opened the account. And then he said, wow, how? No, we've opened the account. We have used the technical staff to open the account. So there's an account, which is pseudo, where Coulthard is not a signatory, yet he was the treasurer. He drove back. So there are multiple accounts.
So now as the ST you open account and not the treasurer?
Yes, I am the Secretary General.
So where is the role of the treasurer? Who is the treasurer?
Well, we appointed the acting treasurer.
Who is the acting
No,
treasurer?
you will see when these things come, when these things unfold. There is somebody who acted on that basis in order for us to facilitate that opening of the account. But your question was on accountability.
Yes.
Yes, the party fears accountability. Let me tell you, we know one thing for certain, that we received the money from the European Union that was intended to pay the polling agents. So ZANU-PF received the same amount.
Is this a myth or is it a fact?
It's not a myth. It's not a myth. We received that money. Our polling agents today are not paid.
How much money are we talking about here?
We're talking about 2-point-something million. And in next week, early next year, I'll be writing to the president. I need accountability. Those people who were in charge of that money, because that money was dispersed outside my authority. We need accountability. Our polling agents are not paid as we speak. Where did that money go? We went to the campaign. We received monies. So people are coming out and say, we put the money on the presidential campaign, we put the money on the members of parliament so that their nomination fees are paid for by the party. And most of the nomination fees, individuals, candidates paid for their money. Where was that money? Where did that money go? So we will be writing to the president soon, seeking for accountability. So we are putting the order. Those who will be outside or those who misappropriated the funds, then law is going to take its course.
You know, I've heard this on social media, this issue of money, the European Union and all those kinds. I would say, I mean, for the record, I don't have the evidence or the know-how that, but I'm sure what you are talking about, you know, for a fact that the money came in, because we are trying to make sure that it's not speculation, but there was money that was.
There was money. That money is confirmed by ZANU itself. They received the money.
So it was confirmed by ZANU and not Triple C.
Both parties that were contesting in the election were given that money. That money was there to do, one, training of the polling agents, deployment of the polling agents, taking care of the affairs of the polling agents, food, transport, etc., and stuff like that, so that the election becomes credible. We didn't want a situation whereby the election, there is no polling agent for another political party, therefore it jeopardizes, it compromises the outcome of the election. So that was the essence of that money.
So is it not the money that ZANU-PF rejected?
Well, on paper they rejected, but they accepted the money.
So in your party, who took the money?
This is where we are. This is why I'm saying we need to establish who received that money and where did that money go? Because our polling agents, they still need that money. So if these are the criminals around the president, one of them will have to account, and some of them will have to really show the face and tell us where did that money go.
Already there's speculation that you are angling to receive the political finances money.
No, that's obvious. The political finance, it goes to the authority. I'm the authority.
But how are you the authority when there is the president?
No, president is the face, and I'm the engine of the movement. So it is not the face that receives the money. It is the engine that steers the money. So in every political party, you go to ZANU-PF, the money doesn't come through His Excellency Emmerson Mnangagwa. He doesn't receive the first secretary, but it is the chief administrator who is Open who receives the money. So Ziyambi doesn't write to President Mnangagwa as the first secretary of the ZANU-PF to receive the money. So why would they write to President Chamisa to receive? It's simple. The chief of administration is the Secretary General. And the Secretary General is the one who communicates with all other entities. In this instance, the Parliament as an institution. So definitely, I'm not angling it. They have to do what is right. The Parliament has to do what is right. The Parliament has considered to the letters of recalls that I've written to them, because they have said this is the authority. And I have recalled people. Well, in as much as I'm standing and on behalf of the party, but the signature which is bearing those authority letters, it's my signature. So the Parliament today cannot, therefore, after receiving a letter of a recall, implement it, and after receiving a letter claiming the money and disregard it. It doesn't work that way.
So how much are we talking about?
Well, I don't know the Parliament now. It is just set, and I think it will be through the budget when the budget is approved, and then we'll know the percentages that we're looking at. So definitely, yes, I'm going to receive. There's no doubt about it. I'm going to receive, on behalf of the CCC, the political funds. And furthermore, I have written to the Speaker of Parliament that the Speaker of Parliament, there are no any other appointments until further notice. Hlatshwayo shall act as the leader of the House. He is the chief whip, shall act as the leader of the House. If there's anything, Hlatshwayo should deal with the issues regarding to the Parliament. I have written to the Speaker of Parliament. The committee chairpersons remain as it is until further notice. So January next year, the Speaker has received that letter. So there won't be any changes until further notice in Parliament. So the Parliament will stand guided.
Do you intend to continue recalling people?
I don't think there's anybody now who has the energy to do that. I think the focus now is to say, how do we make Parliament work again? How do we make the municipalities work again? But I condone the behavior that happened in Parliament. We will investigate it and see if there is element of disorderly behavior. There's element which is not in line with our policy direction. Then we will act. So we want Parliament to start working again in a manner in which is respected. It's one of the most important institutions that we have. Look, for example, now, they are on suspension at a time when budget is being debated. ZANU-PF, they are there on their own, debating critical issues that affect not only members of ZANU-PF. We never deployed members of Parliament to go there and toy. We deployed members of Parliament to there to go and debate issues. Now, what are they going to say to the communities if the budget is unfavorable? Are we going to say that we're toying against the appointment, the swearing in of this Mavugu Tafara guy? Who is he? Is he so special such that we can lose the sight and debate for an individual? People would claim and say, no, there was a death in Mavugu. How many people died in Matebeleland? 20,000 people died in Matebeleland. And the people of Matebeleland remained resolute. They still continued fighting ZANU-PF. So today, are we telling us if we lose a life, then we say we're going to walk in Parliament?
But isn't the way protests come in?
No.
Democracy?
7 people. President Chamisa went out on audio and said those were stupid people because they campaigned. They went there and they got shot, 7 of them in Harare. Why didn't they go in Parliament and boycott and for a pullout in Parliament? These actions were naive. These actions are barbaric, and we are not going to stand, and we are going to investigate who spearheaded who was behind the pullout of Parliament. And if we seriously see that there was an individual, Because in every setup, my brother, there is always an individual who is pushing this kind of an agenda. And I've got no doubt we will deal with that person as an individual. We can't cause an anarchy. Opposition in Zimbabwe should perform like an opposition in United Kingdom.
My fear, Comrade SG, is that you are slowly becoming everything. The SG, the treasurer, the chair of the disciplinary. What you are fighting, you are slowly becoming. Because you are now making decisions on your own that you are going to discipline everyone.
No. I'm saying everything. If the Secretary General, I am the engine, I say, can you please investigate this? I write to relevant authorities. This is not in order. I'm not saying I'm the treasurer on that aspect. I'm saying, as I write to the Speaker of Parliament, it is not the treasurer who writes to the Speaker of Parliament seeking for the funds. It is the Secretary General writes on behalf of the institution, writes on behalf of even the treasurer, of the chairman and the president. So I am the center. You can't ignore me at your own peril. I have said those words, and I'm sure those people who ignored me from the beginning, they are actually wondering. I even said, President Chamisa, he can disown me, but it's like he is running away from his shadow because we have been there in trenches. So anybody at this juncture who is going to undermine what I stand for, who is going to maybe think that I'm a joke in this setup, then he has to redefine himself into the mirror and see whether the image mirrors their thoughts.
Where does all this power come from, the confidence?
It comes from the experience. Because even if the Constitution provides you with the functions, at times, if you are inexperienced, if you have not gone through this, then you will be able to know your functions that are actually enshrined in your Constitution. So it comes from the Constitution. It comes from the experience, rather. I'm experienced cadre. So I know I have once been the chairperson of the province, secretary of the province, president of Zimbabwe Cattle Workers Union. I've been the board, sat in various boards. I've sat in various committees. So I've rich experience in terms of administration and in terms of political. I think I've got this political cloud now, and which I cannot afford to lose to anybody.
Yeah, as we draw to a close, I mean, we can talk everything, but I'm super loyal to Matebele and to Bulawayo. And we have seen some people, whether it's your Twitter account or people claim to be you and talk that OSG wants to recall David Coltart. And can you put it on record that there's been that talk?
The people that decided to put Coltart are not here, so I represent them. So Coltart is my product. I therefore cannot afford to cut my finger. Even if I've got disagreements with Coltart, I will bring him into the table. Even if I don't talk to him, but these people who Coltart doesn't know that put him there would speak to Coltart. So we are expecting a lot from Coltart. We are giving him, even if he can climb on top of the mountain, challenges me, that and that. This thing, abantu bakobulawayo set and agreed, ukuthi, how do we have Bulawayo functioning again? They looked at the likes of the past mayors, and Sati Tina Sifuna, who is the first executive mayor after independence, Kwakula Malinga, Omapotongo, the most recent one, who is the Ndabeni, yes. Our departure point was on executive mayor Ndabeni. We said, who can, among the crop of leadership, fit in the shoes of Ndabeni? Ndabeni performed. Ndabeni, even if you go anywhere today, you go back to his council, was Ndabeni. Then we said, no, look, let's put David Coulthard. Let's bring David Coulthard. David Coulthard is a white. That's number one. He is going to deal with the international community. David Coulthard is white, he's racial. He's not going to be in that position because he wants tender, he wants this and that. He has made his money. Three, David Coulthard is a former Minister of Education. He through his connection, through his contacts, he managed to have a ratio proportion ukuthi umntwana abe le textbook in each and every location during his time. So we believe that he can be the center of corporate world. So samfaka laphana. Abantu bathi ngkhona, no, how do you put David Coulthard reducing a minister to a mayor? Then Tina, we're saying we are bringing the idea of a minister to a local authority. So David Coulthard has to perform. And I have got no doubt that David Coulthard will perform. Ama councillors too, you know, from the beginning, they did not understand this idea. But now, even in social groups, you see them defending David Coulthard's initiative. So David Coulthard has to deliver Ibulawayo. We will make him deliver Ibulawayo. We will give him the necessary requisite support for him to deliver Ibulawayo. Kazehlulekile yena njengomlungu athi ngehlulekile ukulungisa uBulawayo, but uChabangu ubengekho ubengangithreaten ukuthi uzongirecalla. He should sleep there and forget any recall. If there is going to be any recall, izaba yi-service delivery. Yiyo ezamrecallisa ukuthi he has failed to deliver ngabantu at the end of his term.
Yeah, on that note, thank you. Lastly, you guys have been talking about Congress, this Congress. That,
oh, yes.
Are you likely to have a Congress, or when do we expect to have a Congress?
Yes. Congress inevitable. In Congress, sometime beginning of first quarter of the year next year, we should be going to Congress and elect the leadership, a Congress which is going to assert itself to challenge the state power, assert itself to challenge ZANU, assert itself to provide leadership and alternative leadership, institutionalize, have a collective approach in everything we do. So we will go to Congress, and we want to see this Congress bringing in the labor component, ZCTU, back into the fold. We want to bring the students back into the fold. We want to bring church leaders back into the fold. We want to bring all social groups in this Congress so that their voice is heard again. We will have a convention which is going to be like the one we had in '99.
I keep on saying lastly, but this one is important. Did you guys learn anything from Monzora?
Yes. Look, I'm his student. I'm proud to say that Love Momadugu, professor, he was such an instrumental during my labor movement activism. So is Douglas Monzora. We learned a lot. There's nothing that you can take away from Douglas Monzora. He's an astute politician. He is a great arsenal. He's a great thinker. He's a great strategist. Well, he may have lost it along the way, but there is nothing that you can take away from him. So we learned a lot. But you see, as a student, you can, at some stage, sometimes you can perform better than your teacher. So yeah, in this platform, I highly regard Douglas Monzora. I highly regard Douglas Monzora as you remember Douglas Monzora when he came to the MDC, he was Secretary for Legal Affairs, and he went further to challenge the position of the Secretary General, and he won against all odds. So Douglas, he is an inspiration to me.
Okay, on that note, I think we'll end it here. We've been talking for an hour. A lot of interesting things and interesting takes. I guess the debate will go beyond Christmas, but it's been an exciting conversation. And I was talking to Sengezo Tshabangu, abambiza SG. And the good thing, we are going one. Ngwanele has been creating a lot of waves. It's the head of the year, so it's really interesting, and we wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And of course, these conversations are not going to end today. And they are going to continue. You're already saying in 2024 there will be Congress, there will be this. So that means Sisonke Futi Momnyagozayo following up on the money. You talked about the money that you are definitely getting. You talked about the investigating the criminals who took the money from the EU, and there are so many things that I guess this is the beginning of another conversation, and we'll follow and see what happens. My name is Zenzele Ndebele. Till we meet again in other programs after Christmas. Enjoy your day.